Good afternoon, everybody.
With me, let your mind explore. All the
Come on in. I know I'm a little tardy for the party. It's been a morning. But I'm here. Yay. So, all of those that are watching live and the replay, come on in. Come on in. I'm going to lay down a little bit of information for you. Come on in. Come on in, guys. Come on in, ladies. It is so good to have you here. As I stated, I know it's Friday afternoon, and sometimes Fridays can be a little bit hectic, but I wanted you to come on in and listen to this that I am going to be doing today, which is entitled Journey to Freedom or Road to Freedom, whichever way you want to look at it. We all want to be free. Come on in. Come on in. Come. I had some other plans but it didn't work out. So we're going to just do what we need to do here today. So I am so glad that everyone that is joining me here today on these platforms, that you are joining me here today to journey to freedom. We want to be free. We need to be free. If we're actually going to live our best lives, we need to be free. So come on in. It's yours truly, Cheryl Eastman, aka the Inspirer. What is my job? Help you tap into your inner so that you can be the winner. Come on in. Come on in. Come. Come on in. So today, what are we going to be talking about? Today, we're going to be talking about the road to freedom, or the pathway to freedom. We all want to be free. So if you see me looking over here to my left, I'm looking at, just walk with me today. It is a beautiful day here in the Callies, and I am so glad to be here with all of you beautiful, lovely, wonderful, amazing women. I'm just happy to be here. And as I said, it's yours truly, Cheryl Eastman, aka the Inspire. What is my job? What is my assignment? It is to help you tap into the inner so that you can find your winner. Yeah, absolutely. So that you can find that person that's maybe buried and, going through a couple of things. But it's my job to help you tap in there so that you can find her. So today we're going to be talking about the road to freedom. And I'm going to I can't give you the whole enchilada, but I'm going to be giving you a couple of things that will help you step into a couple of paths that will help you step into the road to freedom, to liberty. And that's what we want. We want to be liberated. Why do we need to be liberated? So that we can live our best life. We want to live our best life. When you're locked up, when you're chained up, when you're bound up, you're not going to live your best life. You're just not going to do it. Something is going to go slacking. Something is not going to connect. Something is not going to happen. So we have to get free. We have to break free. We have to want to know how to in order to live our best life. That's what this is all about, living our best life. Let me tell you this before I get into this. Life is too short to live it locked up. It really is. It's too short to live it locked up, chained up, filled with pain, hurt, dismay, discomfort. It's too short. So we want to do what it takes to break free and to live free. Let me say that again. We want to do what it takes to break free and to live free lives. Some of us have been through some devastating situations. We've had some challenging relationships and some breakups and some hard places that we have been through in our lives. But see, that's what I want it to be, that we go through it, that we don't get into it and stay there and stay locked up, but that we go through that thing and we come out on the other side bigger and better and more powerful and more equipped to live this life in the way that we were designed to live this life. So today, that's what we're going to be talking about, the road to freedom. So listen, I think that we all want to live freedom. We want to leave that legacy for our children. Listen, let me tell you this: if our children, see, our children are products of their environment. We all are. And if our children don't see us liberated and living free, if they see us constantly in pain and not breaking free, then then when things come into their lives, that's what they're going to do. But if we can show our children a better way, a different way, how to live, how to actually break free from the things that keep us stuck, then it will reciprocate. They will do it, their children will do it, and so on and so forth. So that's what this is all about. It's not just about me, it's not just about you, but it is about us passing this on to the next generation so that they can live free. I don't want my children, I want them to see me at least putting forth the effort to be free, at least putting forth the effort to break out of the boundaries of the things that have me in a stronghold or that have me in a headlock. So anyway, let's move on into the road to freedom, or the journey to freedom. So listen, those that don't know me, I'm a God girl. For Paul said it, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to every man that believes it. So I love the word. So I'm going to lay down some foundation here. John 8:36, it says, he whom the Son sets free is free indeed. What does that mean? He whom the Son sets free is free for real. For real, for real. We're free. So we have to claim that. We have to know that. We have to walk in that. So we have to choose to be free. We have to choose to live free. We have to choose to walk free. We have to choose to think free. All of these things are choices. Thinking is a choice. Thinking free is a choice. Living free is a choice. Being free is a choice. Walking free is a choice. It's all a choice that you have to make. No one can make the choice for you. You have to actually want to be free and not allow those things that would try to come into your life to keep you stuck or to keep you bound to remain. They might stay for a moment, but at some point in time, we have to say, okay, it's time. It's over. Your season of holding me down is over. You have to choose that. Your season of holding me up, your season of holding me back, whatever those things are. Whatever they may be, they may have been a hurt in your life, pain in your life, whatever those things are, a dead relationship in your life, whatever it is, stinking thinking, at some point, you have to be able to tell that stuff that you are dismissed from my life. You no longer can rent a room in my head. You no longer can rent a room in my heart. You are dismissed. So we have to choose. Freedom is ours for the choosing. Freedom is ours for the choosing. So what does the word freedom really mean? What does that word really mean? It means delivered. Freedom means delivered. It means rescued. It means set free, set apart. It means to break forth, to break out of. This is what the word freedom means. No longer a slave. Are you tired of being a slave to your emotions? Are you tired of being a slave to the way that you're thinking? Are you tired of being a slave to your to anything that is pulling you down? Are you tired? So freedom means no longer a slave, no longer a captive. This is what freedom means. It means no longer a captive, free from guilt. Free from guilt, free from condemnation. Sometimes we condemn ourselves more than anybody else does. So freedom means that we are free from condemnation. But in order to walk in freedom, we must choose. We must choose. We must make the right choices in life. And so that's what we want to talk about today. I want to talk about the paths to freedom. We must choose the right path. There's a wrong way and there's a right way. So let's look at this today. First of all, we need to look at how we got here. How did you get here? How did you get into this quandary, into this place that you're in now, into this place of pain, this box of pain? How did you get here? What happened? What happened? What challenges did you go through in your life to get you here? What challenges did you go through in your relationship that brought you to this place? That we all got to this place in variously different ways. We all didn't arrive on this platform on this path in the same way, but we all got here in a different way. You may have been hurt. You were hurt, you were abused, or you were misused, you were lied to. There's some way that you got here. You were betrayed. You were betrayed. You thought it was one way, but it was another way. You were betrayed, misused, abused. With these things happening, it tends to dishelve us. It tends to cause us to doubt ourselves, to doubt our own ability, to doubt our own worth. And this is what happens when we get on this path, of discomfort. It causes us to doubt who you are, to doubt your own value, to doubt your own abilities. And this keeps you stuck. This keeps you from moving forward into the path to freedom because you're so busy doubting yourself. You're so busy doubting who you are, who you were created to be. You're stuck. So we all got here in variously different ways, but we need to take a look at this. How did we get here? Many times the experience of loss, we experience a loss of sense of ourselves. We experience a loss of who we are. Who are you? You have to take a good look at who you were created to be. See, up until the big hurt, you knew who you were. You knew you were powerful. You knew you were strong. You knew you were a bad mamma jamma up until the time you were hurt. And then when that big hurt happened, you begin to doubt yourself. Deborah, you begin to doubt yourself. Lisa, you begin to doubt yourself. Melissa, you begin to doubt yourself because the pain of that thing actually, it knocked the wind out of you. So you begin to doubt yourself. When devastation happened in your lives, it can knock the wind out of you. It can knock the confidence out of you. It can knock everything out of you. Before that, you were so sure of yourself. You were so powerful and you were so mighty. But the truth of the matter is, you still are. You still are. You're not unmighty. You're still mighty. You're still powerful. But because of the devastation, because of the hurt, it's buried underneath that. And my job is to help you get from underneath that. So let's talk about the first thing that we need to do to this journey to freedom. What is the first thing that we need to do? Because we've been hurt, because we've been pushed down, because all of these things have happened in our lives. What is the first thing that we need to do in our lives? And I'm going to bring up a slide here and show us what is the first thing that we need to do in our lives. We need to rediscover who we are. You've got to rediscover who you are. It takes courage. Listen, ladies, it takes courage to uncover and rediscover the self that we think we lost. Listen to the operative word, that we think we lost. She's still there. But she's got to be rediscovered because she's buried underneath a pile of rubble, underneath a pile of pain, underneath a pile of poo-poo, if I could say it that way. She's buried. So the first path that we have to go down on the road to freedom, on the path to freedom, is to rediscover who you are. It takes courage to do this. The strength is within you, however. I want you to know you have the power, you have the strength to rediscover her. Don't let your mind tell you you don't. Don't let your mind tell you you don't have what it takes. You do. It's time to redefine yourself. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight that you rediscover yourself, but you are going to rediscover the amazing, the powerful, the wonderful, the awesome self that you are. And the thing about it in this journey is you're going to not just discover who you think you lost or the person you think you lost. You're going to find the extra stuff that you didn't even know was there, that you did not even know was there. So you're going to rediscover this amazing person. So much water has gone underneath the bridge that you are finding it challenging to resurface. You feel like you're drowning. You feel like you're drowning. But let me reassure you that you are not drowning. You will resurface. When you rediscover who you are after the hurt, after the pain, after the storm, when you rediscover who you are, you're going to emerge more powerful, more phenomenal. That's what's going to happen to you. You're going to have, but see, these are some of the things you're going to have to do. You're going to have to acknowledge your feelings. You're going to have to acknowledge, okay, I'm here. I've dealt with this. I've gone through this. I'm challenged with this. You've got to acknowledge. We can't sweep it under the rug and say that we don't feel this certain way. You have to acknowledge. In order to rediscover who you are, you've got to acknowledge where you are. Let me say that again. In order to rediscover who you are, you've got to acknowledge where you are. You've got to work, number one, work through the trauma, through the difficulties that you have been through or that you are going through. You have to work through those traumas. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight, but you've got to work through that trauma that has happened in your life, whether it's a breakup of a relationship. And I deal with a lot of ladies that have dealt with breakups and that have been through some toxic relationships where they just didn't think that they were going to make it. But I've dealt with that. But you have to work through the trauma and make intentional moves. Your moves out of this pit, out of this hard place, have to be intentional. You have to set an intention that says, I'm coming out. I'm coming up and I'm coming out. I'm going to rediscover myself. I'm coming up, but it has to be an intentional thing that you do. You can't do it haphazardly. It can't just happen to happen, but it has to be intentional. Make intentional movement to come out. You have to talk about the event. You can't just, hold it in. You have to talk about it. Now, talking about it with someone that is trustworthy, the right person. You can't just talk about it with anybody because there are people who won't understand where you are. But the right person, it may be a coach, it may be a therapist, it may be clergy. Talk about it with the right person, someone that really can actually help you move through where you are. Talk about it with the right person and get that support that you need. Sometimes we try to pull up our big girl panties and go through these things alone and act like it's not happening or act like it did not happen. There are times you need somebody to come alongside of you and to walk with you. You need a place where you can vent, a place where you can release. You need an exit strategy. You need someone that will help you walk through it. So many times what happens is we get in our own heads, and that's where we stay. We stay in our own heads and we keep rethinking the issue over and over and over, rethinking the issue. But you need someone to come alongside, some place you can release it, a safe place, a wholesome place for you to be able to rediscover who you are. Who you are. Don't spend a lot of time alone. Alone time is good, but you need that sounding board. You need that sounding board. And as I said, consider professional help, coaching, therapists, psychology, consider that. If you're thinking about coaching, I'm your girl. I'm your girl for the coach. I am not a therapist, but I am a coach. And I've been through some of these hard places that I believe that I can help you through this. So the first one that I stated was we have to realize who we are and where we are. Acknowledge your feelings. Acknowledge your feelings. Don't act like they're not there. Don't act like, your feelings are just, don't overlook them. Let me say that. Do not overlook your feelings. Acknowledge your feelings. This is the first one, the first path. The second one is, let me back up just a little bit. In acknowledging your feelings, you have to practice some self-love. Let's go back a little bit. You have to practice some you have to love yourself enough. Whoever is listening to this, you have to love yourself enough to want to come up. To want to come up and to want to come out. You have to love you. On your journey to freedom, you may encounter people who just say, "Oh, just get over it. Oh, it's all right. It's over it. It happened." But there are still things that are going on the inside of you. So you have to love yourself enough to do the work. You love you enough to do the work. You love you enough to do the work, and don't just listen to what people have to say, but you have to know what you need to come up and to come out. You're going to encounter people who, tell you to just move on. But sometimes you can't just move on from trauma. There are times when you really actually have to deal with the issues of the trauma. You have to deal with it. Deal with the issue. So you've got to practice self-love. Love yourself enough to do the work. Let me say that again. Love yourself enough to do the work. Whatever it takes for you to be liberated, whatever it takes for you to be free, whatever it takes for you to get on that path to freedom, you have to love. See, it starts here. You have to love yourself enough first. Practice self-love. Practice self-love. Never allow someone else to steer you away from what you need to do for you. Practice that self-love. And realize this. Let me just say this. Realize that recovery happens in stages. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a quick fix. It's not an abracadabra. Recovery from hurt, recovery from trauma, recovery from pain. It happens in stages. It's a process. Trauma isn't something you can just get over. Know that. It's not something that is going to happen at the snap of the finger. And if you've been in where you are for any period of time, you realize that already. You understand that already. It's not going to happen at the snap of your finger. Recovery, as a rule, takes time. It takes time to heal. And your time to heal may not be someone else's time to heal. We all deal with this on an individual basis. We all deal with healing on an individual basis. We all deal with growth on an individual basis. So recovery, overcoming, it's a process. Understand that. Cut yourself some slack and know that it is a process and that it will not happen overnight. Healing is not a competition. Like I just said, you can't compare yourself to someone else. You cannot compare yourself to someone else. You may have heard someone else's story about their recovery and how they came out and how they dealt with it and how quickly they evolved and what have you. That person is not you. You have to understand you're not in competition with anyone else. This is about you and how quickly you heal. You take the time that you need to heal. You take the time that you need to recover. But the issue is, the operative word is that you recover, that you come out, that you get on the road to freedom. You don't compare yourself. You hear other people's stories that encourages you that you can come out, but you don't compare yourself to them in the sense that, well, I'm going to come out like you came out. This is going to happen for me like it happened for you. Chances are it will not. Chances are the way they healed, the time that it took them to heal, it may have even taken them longer. You may heal quicker. It is on an individual basis, a case by case basis. So healing is you're not in competition with anyone else. No one, our traumas are never identical. Our traumas are never identical. They are different. So you're going to recover at a different rate. You're going to recover differently from someone else. So you're not in competition. Realize that it is a process. Realize that it is a process. Even if someone else faced the same identical trauma as you, someone else may have had a breakup. Someone else may have gone through a divorce. Someone else may have had something happen in their life, and you may have had the same thing happen. Even if it's identical, you're not going to go through it in the same way that they did. Why? Because you're different people, different personalities, a whole different set of circumstances surrounding you and them. So cut yourself some slack. You're not in a competition, but what we do want to do is we do want to get on that journey to freedom. We do want to be on the road to freedom. It's important to keep in mind that this is your journey. This is your journey, not your friend's journey, not the next person's journey. This is your journey, and your journey is your journey. Your journey is going to happen for you, like, because it's your personality. It's the way that you deal with things. So cut yourself some slack. Cut yourself some slack. Recovery involves, listen to me, guys, and we haven't even moved on to the next slide yet. My goodness. Recovery involves your whole self. You got to put your whole, if you want to recover, if you want to get on that road to freedom and liberty, if you want that, you got to put your whole self in it. You can't put bits and pieces here and there, here a little, there a little. You've got to put your whole self into this. Whatever it takes. Trauma doesn't happen in a vacuum, and neither is your healing going to be in a vacuum. In order to take the journey to freedom, you're going to need to throw your entire self into the healing process. Everything you're going to have to you're going to have to do every, doctors and lawyers, and when they go to school to practice in their profession, the best doctors, the best lawyers, the best ones, they give it their all. They don't haphazardly do it. They don't do a little bit here and a little bit there, but they put their whole selves into that because they realize that it's worth it. In the end, they're going to be the best doctor. They're going to be the best lawyer. They're going to be the best dentist. They're going to be the best whatever because they put everything, they put their whole self into it. So if you want to overcome the trauma that you perhaps are have gone through, you got to put your whole self into it. You can't do, like I said, a little of this and sometimes you do this. You've got to put your whole self into it. Trauma didn't happen in a vacuum, and you're not going to be healed in a vacuum. You're going to have to put your entire self into the healing process. It's not going to be an easy process, I can tell you that, but it's going to be worth it in the end. If you put your whole self, if you put everything you are into the process of overcoming the trauma, it will be, in the end result, it will be worth it. But remember, you're going to have to recovery, overcoming, getting on this road to freedom, breaking the chains that bind you. It's going to involve you putting your whole self into this intentionally, on purpose. For purpose. If you're going to live a life that is free, you're going to have to intentionally put your whole self into this. Put your whole self into this. Your healing is based on a range of factors. Where you came from, who you are, your background, your age, your gender. I mean, a lot of that, your healing is based on various factors. That's why I was saying a little earlier, everybody is not in the same boat. You cannot lump everyone together because you, Deborah, you, Shanice, are different and you heal at a different rate. But even though you heal at a different rate, you still have to put your whole self into this healing process. If you are to be healed, if you are to get on that road, you've got to put your whole self there, everything that you are. But my question is, so how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be free? How bad do you want to be liberated? You've got to put your whole self into it and realize that it's going to involve all of you. All of you. Everything is going to involve you. So we've basically been talking about rediscovering you, basically in this slide. So let's move on to the next path. You got to be willing to forgive. And now I know that's a dirty word for some people. I know for some people, it's a dirty word. You've got to be willing to let it go. What happened to you happened to you. Yes, it did. The pain of the trauma, the pain of the disappointment, the pain of the hurt, the pain of the betrayal, all of that absolutely happened to you. But you've got to be willing to forgive. You've got to be willing. If you're going to get on the path to freedom, you've got to be willing to forgive. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It's not about the other person, but it's about you and your liberty. I'm going to ask that same question. How bad do you want to be free? It's about your liberty. Forgiveness is it's a state of freedom. What does forgiveness do? It frees you up. It takes the chains off of your mind. It takes the chains off of your heart. Forgiveness frees you. When you forgive, when you let things go, because holding on just keeps you stuck. Holding on keeps you in bondage longer than you want to be there. Forgiveness sets you free. It liberates you. Many people resist forgiveness because they don't understand what forgiveness really is or what forgiveness really does. So they resist it because they feel like, oh, if I forgive them, they're going to get away with it. If I forgive them, they're going to feel like it's all good. It's okay. But you don't worry about what they feel or what they think. This is about you. This is about your liberation. This is about your freedom. This is about you going to the next level in your life. Because see, let me tell you this. If you don't forgive, if you don't let it go, this is a path. If you don't let it go, you're not gonna get to that next level in your life. Listen, ladies, if you don't let it go, you don't let it go. And sometimes people try to act like they're forgiving. It's no, but does your life show that it's forgiving? Does your life show that you have actually let it go? Are you moving forward? Are you flourishing? See, that's a sign of that's a sign that you have forgiven. When you had a hard place, when you had a hard, challenging place, and you actually forgave, your life is going to flourish. But by the same token, if you say you forgave and you did not forgive, your life is not going to flourish, and it's going to be evident to you first. It's going to be evident to you first. So you have to forgive. Forgiveness, like I said, is not about the other person. It's about you. When you forgive someone, including yourself, you're not saying to that person that there's no responsibility, that they didn't do something, that it didn't really happen. That's not what you're saying. You're not saying that at all. But you're saying, I've got to let this go in order to be free. In order to get on the road to freedom, I've got to let this go. The word of the Lord says, I said it earlier, I told you I'm a God girl. He whom the Son sets free is free indeed, for real. So there's freedom available for you, but you've got to choose it. Choose life. Freedom brings life. Freedom brings health. Forgiveness brings a freedom. Forgiveness brings health. Forgiveness brings wholeness. When you hold on to that stuff, yep, they hurt you. Yep, they did it. Yeah, it happened. But when you hold on to that stuff, it sucks the very life out of you. So you have to be willing to forgive. Forgiveness, as I said, it's not about you. It's about your freedom. It's about your peace. It's about your future. So my question to you is, can you afford not to forgive? Do you have a future? Are there some things that you need to do that are ahead of you, that you need to be about? Can you afford not to forgive? Can you afford that in your life? And I'm going to answer that for you. You cannot afford it. You cannot, because forgiveness is about your future. If you don't forgive, your future is I'm not going to say it won't come, but it's going to be delayed. And there have been enough delays in your life. Can you afford not to forgive? Forgiveness is not about staying with someone that's toxic. It's not about that. Some people get it twisted. It's like, if I forgive, then I gotta. No, you don't have to stay. You forgive and you move on. That's a major misconception. You don't forgive and stay there in the situation. If it's toxic, if it's a circumstance that's killing you or bringing you down, you don't stay there. You don't stay in that, because what it's going to do, if you stay there, it's going to continue to do the same thing. And if you stay, that's insanity. That's insanity. So forgiveness is not about staying with someone toxic. You can forgive and still move forward. You can forgive and still move on. You can forgive and still live your best life. When you really forgive, you will live your best life. When you forgive, you will live your best life. Your job is to take care of yourself. Your job is to take care of yourself and your children. Your job is not to look at the other person or the other situation. Your job is to take care of you. You do what you need to do for you. And by forgiving, you do this. You loosen the chains, you shut it down, and you move forward. Listen to this information. The Mayo Clinic, one of the world's most premier clinics in the world, identifies the following changes with forgiveness. With forgiveness: lower blood pressure, stronger immune system, a better heart health, less stress, which improves digestion, a better sexual response, better sleep, lower risk of anxiety and depression, improved relationships, which is known to strengthen your immune system. That increase in that quote unquote feel good, phenomenal outcome with others. When you forgive, these are all the benefits. Because see, everything is connected. Your health is connected. When we don't forgive, it will affect your health because it controls everything. It's all connected. So you have lower blood pressure. You don't feel sick all the time. You don't feel down. Your immune system operates better because you've let the toxic thing go. Unforgiveness is toxic. Unforgiveness is toxic. And you remain sicker. Your body, your mind, your emotion, your heart, when you don't let that thing go. Forgiving someone is the most powerful choice. This was a big section here for me. Forgiving someone is the most powerful choice you could ever make in your life. It improves your entire life physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It is the most powerful thing that you can ever do. So what I want to ask you ladies that are on here, search your heart. Search your heart. Have you forgiven? Are you forgiving? Are you letting that stuff go? Or are you allowing the toxin of unforgiveness to remain in your system, which will mess up you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Are you letting that toxin, anybody that knows that you have a deadly toxin in your system, most of us don't want to hold on to that because we know it's going to damage our system. But sometimes we hold on to unforgiveness, but not realizing that unforgiveness is toxic. It's a toxin, and you must let it go. If you are going to experience your best life, your best health, your best wholeness, you've got to let unforgiveness go. We must choose truth and reject the lies. Do you understand that holding unforgiveness keeps you in bondage? Did you know that? Unforgiveness puts a yoke around your neck, not the other person. It puts a yoke around your neck, and it keeps you from moving forward, which is what we've got to do. Listen, there's too much. Whoever's listening to me on here, on the live, the replay, there is too much that is in you to do. And if you allow the toxin of unforgiveness to remain within your loins, within the loins of your heart, your mind, your spirit, your soul, you are not going to reach the level in life that you have been intended to reach. The reason you were born on the planet Earth is still there. But you've got to make some hard choices. Some of them are some hard choices. And this is what we're talking about today. So you've got to be willing to forgive and get that yoke from around your neck. Get that yoke. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person, but it's for you. It liberates you. It sets you free. It sets you apart. It causes you see these balloons in this picture here? Forgiving allows you to soar. It allows you to rise above the hard places that you have been in your life. This is what forgiveness does. Now, I know I've talked a lot about forgiveness, but because we've gone through so many challenges in our lives, ladies, we've had some devastating breakups, some devastating losses. We've had people gaslighting us. We've had men folk gaslighting us, telling us what we're not, telling us who we're not, telling us what we can't do, where we're not going to go, what we can't be. We're this, we're not cute, we're not, we've had all of that go on in our lives. And when that goes on over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, it tends to sink in there somewhere. And so what I'm trying to do is to help us to let that stuff go. To let that stuff go, to move forward, to forgive and move forward, to forgive and move forward, to let go and move forward. That is the only way that we are going to soar in our lives. Be willing to let the mess go. Be willing to let it go. Be willing Be willing. Are you willing? Forgiveness is for you, not the other person. I don't care what they did. Yeah, they did some dirt. Yes, some things happened, but forgiveness is for you. It is for you to live your best life, for you to live your life above the rim. And see, that's what I'm all about, helping my sisters to live their best life. Know that you don't have to stay stuck. Know that you don't have to stay down. Know that you can get on the road to freedom. You can live free, but there's some things that you have to do in order to live free. There's some things that you have to intentionally do, and forgiveness is one of them. Forgiveness is one of them. Letting go is one of them. Letting go of the toxin of unforgiveness. You've got to let that go. If you're going to live, you've got to let that go. Let's move on. Recognize how powerful you are. You have within you the power and the ability to achieve your desire and to release the past. You've got the ability. You can do it. But do you recognize how powerful you are? How powerful. When I get on and I get on a live or whatever I get on, I usually say good morning to all you beautiful, wonderful, lovely, phenomenal, amazing women. And I do that for a reason. I do that for a reason. And I do it for me as well. Because see, I'm in the equation. I'm in the equation because things happen to me too. Yeah, I've been through some devastation too. Still dealing with some devastation. But I say it for a reason, because I need you to recognize how powerful you are. I need you to recognize that you are powerful. I need you to recognize that you can do great things, but you've got to realize that. You've got to see it in yourself. Other people can see it. Other people can recognize it. Other people can address it. But do you? Do you recognize how powerful you are? You have the power within you to release the things of the past. You can do this. You can do this. You have everything that you need within you to discover who you are. You have everything within you to discover how you can release the pain and the unforgiveness of the past. I'm going to lay another word on you here because I told you I'm a God girl. 1 John 4:4 says, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. You have the great one dwelling in you. So why can't you realize how powerful you are? Why can't you move forward? Greater is he that's in you. You've got the great one dwelling in you. So what's up with that? Greater is he. The great one is in you. We have the greater one in us that is helping us to recognize how powerful we are. As a matter of fact, he gave us the power that we have. He's the one, it initiated from him. So you have to recognize how powerful you are. You have to recognize. If you look into your heart look into yourself and realize and begin to establish that you are powerful, that you can do all things through Christ, that you can do what you need to do to get over the hump, to get on the road to freedom. You're more powerful than you realize that you are. You're more powerful. You're not recognizing your full abilities. You're not recognizing your full strength because so much has happened. So many challenges have come into your life that have affected you psychologically, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So you're not recognizing the real you, the real self, the real power that you actually have in your life. So the path to freedom, the road to liberation includes recognizing how powerful you are. Sister, do you recognize that? I want you to see who you are, regardless to what someone has told you you're not. And we have all had someone that came and gaslighted us and told us what we're not. But what I'm here to do today is to admonish and to encourage you to recognize how powerful you are. Whatever you need is in there. She is there. She may be covered over just a bit, but she is there. So I need you to recognize how powerful you truly, how amazing. I say it every time I get online, how amazing and phenomenal that you really are. And walk in that. Don't let anybody steal that from you. Don't let anybody strip that away from you. Don't let anybody tell you the negatives of what you are not. You believe in yourself. Believe in who you were created to be. Recognize that you are powerful. Here's the last one. Pathway number, I think I have 5 down here. 4. Think your way to freedom. Lately, I have been talking about our thinking, how we think. How we think matters. Think your way to freedom. If you think you can't make it, chances are you probably won't. But you have to think your way to freedom. Think up. See, because our thoughts, change your thoughts, change your mind, change your life. Change the way you think about life, change your life. If you're thinking negatively about life, if you're thinking, I can't do that, I can't make it, I can't overcome that, there's no way, then chances are there is no way. But when we begin to think up, think your way to freedom. Your conscious mind can be like an unruly child. Your conscious mind could just be all over the place, like an unruly child, wanting to do whatever it wants to do. The unconscious mind is all over the place. But we've got to learn how to train our brain. Learn how to train your brain and say, no, you're not going to think that. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you be all over the place. I'm not going to let you be like an unruly child, but I'm going to train you and I'm going to tell you what you're going to think. We have to learn, and this includes me, to train your brain. Get control of that unruly part of you, because if you don't, it will tell you what to do. Instead of you telling it what to do, you must tell your brain that what I just said, I'm powerful, I'm an overcomer, I'm mighty, I can do this, I can do this, I can go here, I can go there. You have to control that. Train your brain and tell your brain what it's going to think. You tell your brain what it's going to do, and don't let it be unruly and wreak havoc in your life, because that's what's happening a lot of times. We're allowing our brains to wreak havoc in our lives because we're not getting control of it. We're not saying, no, we're not going to think that way. No, we're not going to do that. No, you're going to line up. You're going to line up with the word of God. You're going to line up with the positives of life. You're going to line up. You have to take control. You have to take the bull by the horns. You have to take the reins and say, no, you've got to pull it back. Train your brain. Get control of that unruly member, of that unruly part of you, which likes to wreak havoc. It likes to wreak havoc. You can't think what you want to think, and you can't allow your mind to be all over the place. You have to bring it under control. You have to bring it in control, ladies. You bring your thoughts. Subject. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, bring every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. You bring that thing captive. You bring it captive. Don't depend on somebody else. You bring the thought, the negative thought. When it comes, what do you do with it? When somebody says something negative to you of what you cannot do, who you are not, what do you do with that thought? Do you let it roll around in your head, or do you dismiss it and say, no, that's not true? This is the way it is. Do you take it captive and say, no? You've got to take control yourself. You've got to take control yourself. So here's some techniques I want you to do. And I'm not quite done yet. I need you to stand in front of a mirror with a commanding voice. Nobody has to be around. Stand in front of that mirror with a commanding voice, a voice of authority, a voice of authority. You've been through some stuff. You've dealt with some stuff. Now, I want you to stand in front of that mirror and say, it's over. This is over. This is over. It's over. It happened in the past. Now it's done. I need you to, however you say it, I'm saying it this way, however you need to say it, stand in front of that mirror. It's over. It happened. Now it's past. Now it's done. I'm not going to dwell in that. I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to stay in that cycle. It's over. It happened. Now I'm going to use all of the stuff I need from that to take me to the next level. We're going to talk about that. Taming that pain that take you to the next level. Say to yourself in the mirror, you're still in the mirror, it's time to move on. You're still in the mirror. It's time, girl. It's time to move on. Even if you have to call your name, Cheryl, listen. It's time to move on. You have been circled this mountain long enough. You've been here long enough. It is time to move on. You've been dealing with this for a long time. And now what has it gotten you? Are you any further down the road? It's time to move on. Adopt the words to suit who you are, to suit your personality, but say it. Stand in that mirror and speak to yourself. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself what you will do, what you want. You stand there and say, it's done. I'm moving forward. I'm not staying here another day. I'm not going to stay in this. Think your way to freedom. Speak your way to freedom. Declare freedom in your life. I try to stay calm through these talks, but I get a little hyphy. Say to yourself, I have a life to live. Say to yourself, I have a life to live. Now let's go. I have too much to do to be stuck here. Now let's go. I have too much that I need to be doing to stay stuck. Whatever the stuck is, we all have our own stuck. You know, it might be a relationship. It might be a financial a cycle that you're in. Whatever the stuck is, get up out of it. Think your way. Speak your way. Get up out of the stuck. And I'm giving you just a technique to speak to yourself. And here's another technique that I talk about all the time. Writing that letter. I've talked about it many times, about writing a letter about your pain, about your challenges, about the difficulties that you've been through, whether it's a relationship, whatever it is. Write a letter. Get those things out of you. Get those feelings out of you. Get all of those emotions out of you. Write it in that letter. Make it strong language. Strong language. Write it in that letter. Whatever you need to say, you know, because maybe you're not talking, maybe you're not, in contact with that coach yet or that therapist yet. Whatever you need to say, get it out in that letter. Write it strong, how you really feel. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't sugarcoat it. Get it out and say, this is what it is. Put that letter to the side. Don't do anything with it. Go back the next day. Get that letter up again. If you need to cross out what you said and make it even stronger, then you do that. What we're doing is a technique. It's just a symbolic in nature. It's not, I don't want anybody to read anything else into it because I've had people to read other things into that. But it's symbolic. You're getting it out of your heart. You're getting it out of your mind. You're getting out of your spirit. And when you get rid of that, when you've done what you needed to do with that letter, then you get rid of the letter. Rip it up, throw it in the garbage, whatever. It's symbolic of saying done. It's symbolic of saying over. It's symbolic of saying finished. It's symbolic. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. These are some of the paths that I wanted to talk about. These are some of the paths, and I've been on here almost an hour. This was just, I had to kind of pull it in because there's so much more. There's so much more. So let's look at what we talked about. Let's look at this really quick, guys. Rediscover who you are. Things have happened in your life that have caused you to doubt who you are, caused you to doubt that you are who God said you are. You will do those great big things that you plan to do. Some of you have some big dreams, large, phenomenal dreams. And because you've gone through some things in your life, it's gotten buried or it's gotten put on the back burner. Go back and rediscover who you are. Be intentional about it. Be willing to forgive. Forgiveness, I talked about forgiveness for a long time today. Forgiveness is a big part. Be willing to forgive people. Be willing to forgive yourself. It's not always other people. Sometimes you need to forgive yourself for some of the choices, some of the things or whatever. Be willing to forgive because unforgiveness is toxic and it will hold you in a headlock. It will keep you in a holding pattern for life if you're not careful. Be willing to forgive. Recognize how powerful you really are. You're powerful, girl. You are powerful. And I'm seeing some of the faces of the ladies on here that are on here or replay. You guys are, you some bad mamma jammas. You really, really are. And you have some some powerful things locked up on the inside of you that need to be released into the world. And the reason I do what I do is because I see it. I see so much of it on you. And and the world needs all of that goodness, all of that power, all of that phenomenon that's locked up on the inside of you, that sometimes we allow tragedy and trauma to steal from us. But I need us to recognize how powerful we are and then operate in that power, then move on to that power. And then last but not least, think your way to freedom. How are you thinking about yourself? What are you thinking about yourself? What do you think about? Who do you think you are? I wrote a book. Who in the world do you think you are? It's available on my website if you want it. Who in the world? It's I believe it's a powerful book because sometimes we don't know who we are. Who in the world? And when I said that, who in the world? What were you put in the world to be? What were you put in the world to do? Who in the world are you? Who are you positioned to be in the world? You are positioned to be something great in the world. But do you know that? Do you know it? Because if you don't know it, you'll never operate in that level. You've got to know that. I can see it on you all day. I can see the power. I can see the wonder. I can see all of that on you all day. But if you don't see it, then it's not going to happen. I can see it, but you got to see it. That's when it happens. When you begin to operate in it, when you begin to grasp it, and when you begin to say, yeah, that's right. I am this and I am that, and I can do this, and I can be free, and I can think my way to freedom and live my way to freedom and walk I can do it. You must see it. Take the handcuffs off of yourself. Get off of lockdown. Take the handcuffs off of yourself. Repeat after me. I am free to be all I can be. We're talking about the road to freedom. So I'm going to get off of here. There's so much more, but no time. But listen, let me just introduce my program to you really quickly. And many of you have heard this program. I have a signature program, which is entitled Tame Your Pain, How to Turn Your Pain into Power. What does that mean? All of the things that you've been through, all of the challenges that you've had in your life, you don't have to let that control you, but you let it control you. You take all of the hard things and you turn it into power to take you to your next level. Power to take you to that overcoming level. That's what you do. You don't let the pain pull you down. You pull it down. You use that pain to take you into your next dimension in life. So that's what my program is all about. It's entitled Tame Your Pain, How to Turn Your Pain into Power. This is my signature program. It's a 13-week program, and I believe it will bless your life. I believe it will bless your life. And so if you want a little bit more of information about Tame Your Pain, DM me at Cheryl Eastman. I'll get the link to you so that you can kind of look at it and see what it's all about. The Tame Your Pain program, I believe it's a blessing. And a lot of these principles, all of these principles that I've talked about today are in that program. And it's in it in a much bigger way than I was able to talk. I said it's a 13-week program. So of course, if it's a 13-week program, there's no way I could have gotten it into this hour here on today. But it is phenomenal. It gives you tools. It gives you ways that you can be an overcomer. It gives you techniques, things I couldn't get to today. I gave you a few, but things I couldn't get to today. It's a powerful program, and I believe it is worth it. It is worth the time and the money, because it's not a free program. Hallelujah. But it's worth the time and the money. And it will bless your entire life. Tame Your Pain, How to Turn Your Pain into Power. My 13-week signature program will bless your life. And as I stated, take the handcuffs off yourself. You're worth it. You're worth it. I believe you're worth it, which is why I believe God gave me the program in the first place, because you're worth it. Because I see too many of my beautiful, wonderful, lovely, amazing sisters locked up, bound up, stuck. You're worth being free. You're worth walking in liberty. You're worth it. You're worth it. So ladies, if you need more information about the Tame Your Pain program, as I said, DM me at Cheryl Eastman. I'll get a link over to you so you can go and peruse the, actually, I have a webinar about it, but you could actually go and peruse my website and just kind of have a look at the program that will actually help you on your journey to freedom, on your journey to liberation. You are worth it. You are worth it. And I'm so, I'm peach plum happy. I don't know if I said that right, that you joined me here today on this short little presentation about getting on the road to freedom. It's time. Do you believe that? It's time to be free. It's time to be liberated. It's time to be whole. It's time. It's time. So listen, it is yours truly, Cheryl Eastman, aka The Inspire. And listen, before you jump off, also, I wanted to do a little plug. And I know some of you are jumping off. I wanted to do a little plug. I will be a part of a workshop, actually a retreat, a women's retreat in Oceanside, California, and in November, where I will actually be presenting my Tame Your Pain program there again, and it'll probably be on a larger scale because I have a little bit more time to do it there. It will be on a larger scale, but we're having a retreat, and I'm actually going to be on Facebook, and I'm going to post the link about the retreat. This is going to be a phenomenal retreat. I'm going to be one of the presenters. There are going to be all kind of presenters, all kind of activities. Listen. If you can be, it's going to be from November the 3rd through November the 6th. It is going to be a phenomenal women's retreat in Oceanside, California, all inclusive. All you got to do is get yourself there. Everything is included. The meals, the everything. It's all included. And I'm telling you, it's going to be phenomenal. So I will be also presenting the program Tame Your Pain there at this retreat on November the 3rd through the 6th in Oceanside, California. If you can get there, get there. It will be a blessing to you, and it is well worth it. It is well worth it. I'm going to list the flyer on my site, on my Facebook platform. I'll list it there so that you guys can have a look at it and peruse it. But listen, you are so worth it. Sometimes we don't know how to invest in ourselves. We have to learn. We've got to begin to invest. We invest in ourselves in so many other ways. So many other ways. You know, we might in it, and I'm saying this not to say there's anything wrong with it. We put it on our backs, we put it on our feet, you know, we carry it on our shoulders, you know, we put it on our hair. We do all of these things, but we're cute on the outside. We look real good on the outside, but inside, there's some things that need to happen there. If we're going to be our best selves, if we're going to leave a legacy for our children and teach them how to live their best lives, we've got to live our best lives. We've got to do what it takes. So let's invest in ourselves. Inside. Let's invest in our emotions. Let's invest in our hearts. Let's invest in our mind. Let's invest there. And when we do that, it will manifest to the outside. It will be evident that we did that we invested in ourselves. So listen, I'm going to go, and it has been my pleasure to be with you here for this little over an hour today on this platform. Get on that journey to freedom, ladies. Get on that journey to freedom. Free your mind. The rest will follow. Free your mind, the rest will follow. Free yourself up to be the very best you can be. Get on that journey to freedom. You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. You really don't. I know you've been hurt, but you can get up. You can actually get up. And you know, I like I said, I'm a coach, and I can help you get up because I've had to get up. You know, coaches are not exempt. We're not exempt. We've gone through, we go through. But we've just been equipped to help our sisters to get up and go. Listen, it's yours truly, Cheryl Eastman, aka The Inspire. And I am going to go. There we are. It has been my pleasure to be here with you on today. So listen, I want you to take care. I want you to live your best life. Live your best life. Live your best life. Live your best life. Gonna play a little bit of music here. Live your best life. Live your best life. Be your best self. I love you all. Take Take care. We'll see you soon. Have a phenomenal weekend, ladies. Have an absolutely phenomenal weekend. Live your best life. Do what you need to do. You can do it. It's there. Take care.